But can I ask how the victim's doing today?
He's a typical 11-year-old. He still goes to counseling. Um, he does have some anger issues. He still screams out sometimes, and he can't really explain his bad dreams. And my hope is that his bad dreams have nothing to do with what happened.
Police investigating after an 18-month-old was assaulted.
Today's T0ddler has more on the investigation.
The suspect in this case is from Manchester, but the reason why Vernon police are involved is because the alleged abuse happened here at this Vernon apartment complex, where the victim and the victim's mother both live. Police say the 18-month-old boy was injured while being cared for by 24-year-old Quandacia Hansley, who was dating his mother. The toddler's mother brought her son into Connecticut Children's Medical Center on June 19th to get medical help.
Police were notified after the physician noticed some suspicious injuries on the child that consisted of bruises to the neck and torso.
The 1.5-year-old was kept at the hospital for 2 days before being released. DCF is working with the family.
Yeah, he is terrible.
Ella Mae Moses also lives at the Dobbs Crossing apartment complex. Both she and her son say this is terrible.
I have kids of my own. You hear things like that, it bothers you.
Hansley, who is from Manchester, is charged with cruelty to persons, assault 3rd degree, and risk of injury to a minor. She is scheduled to be arraigned Thursday.
And to add insult to injury, she was only sentenced October 20th, 2016. It's been about 8 years since she was sentenced. She was only sentenced to 1 year prison for doing this to a defenseless 18-month-old child. But now here she is asking to have her record expunged, asking for a pardon so that no one would know what she's capable of. If given this pardon, she would be allowed to be a school teacher. She would be allowed to be a nanny. She would be allowed to do anything, including taking care of little children. Now, she was dating the mother of this child. The mother of this baby will be there to speak, but it's the grandmother that I think gives the real statement here. Anyways, I'll unpack it with the details of this crime at the end.
Just close the door, sit down, and state your name for the record.
Hi, good morning. My name is Quandacia Hansley.
And just briefly, my client's 34 years old. She's been out of trouble. She's been out of trouble for almost a decade now. Her criminal activity occurred when she was relatively a very young woman. As I'm sure you saw from her application, she really suffered horrific trauma as a young girl when she saw her mother murdered when she was just 10 years old. After that, she was in foster care, and this led to her making some poor decisions when she was a teenager and a young adult. However, for her, prison was transformative. She took that time to reflect on her conduct. She engaged in anger management and other programs, and she identified the root causes of her poor choices so that she could make the necessary changes in the future and not be back in that situation again. A pardon's going to help her now with respect to employment and also to mitigate some of the shame and remorse she has for her conduct, which she carries with her every day. I think given her background, the changes she made in her age at the time, she's an excellent candidate. With that, I'll turn things over to my client or the board with any questions.
Okay. Ms. Hansley, did you want to give a statement?
Yes. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and allowing me to address the board. I take full accountability for what I have done. I am extremely remorseful, and I am ashamed to have conducted this kind of behavior. I truly apologize for the embarrassment that I've brought on the victim's family, my community, and myself. I have put in the work to become a far better individual than I am today than I was almost a decade ago. I successfully completed 3 months of anger management, which I would attend twice a week. And also for the past 6 years, I've been in therapy. Both therapies have helped me with self-awareness, emotional self-regulation, communication skills, and as well as healthy coping mechanisms. For the past 3 years, I have built a relationship with God. I attend church regularly. I also give back to my community by donating to back to school drives, Toys for Tots, donating clothing and hygiene products for, people who are less fortunate. I also pay it forward by buying groceries for families, and being involved with that helps me to bring a sense of peace and like purpose to others and myself. So despite my past convictions, I have significantly rehabilitated myself, demonstrated genuine remorse for my actions, and actively contributed positively to the society. A pardon can be a powerful tool for my transforming life, helping me overcome the limitations imposed by my past convictions, by enhancing education and career opportunities, and facilitating personal and social redemption. It is a vital step toward reintegrating into society and also achieving my goals. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So we do have victim input in this case. We'll turn the hearing over now to the Office of Victim Services. Mr. Jesus, thank you.
Good morning, board members. I do have the victim's mother as well as the victim's grandmother via Zoom. This is your opportunity to express to the board your wishes and your concerns. I am to remind you that you are to address the panel members only, and you may begin.
Hi, board members. I am the mother of the victim at the time of the offense. For so long, I've been dealing. Can you hear me?
Your connection's very poor.
Okay. You hear me now? Okay. So at the time of the offense, my son was only 18 months old. And in that time, you look at a child and they are defenseless. And for so long, I've carried a guilt because I wasn't there to protect him the way I should have. I have struggled mentally since that day. I am actually seeking, therapy for myself to help with coping and dealing with certain situations. The situation has financially caused me issues mentally, physically. I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting it to be so hard. I've contemplated on what it is that I want to say. And I would like to say for myself, I have grown through that instant. I've seen my child grow, and the progression that I see. We struggled at the beginning with therapy and a lot of mental issues. But I would like to say that at this point that I am in a space where I feel like God would like for me to have some type of forgiveness, but a moment of not forgetting. And this is only for myself because I need to move on with my life and not allow this to hover over me. I think that is all I have to say at this moment. That is all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think there was, your mother was also going to speak, is that correct?
Yes.
Ms. Lee? If you can unmute, and you may address the board.
Good morning. I want to thank you for the opportunity to allow me to speak. The situation has been very hard. I've had to watch my daughter break down, rebuild, break down, and rebuild. I had to watch my grandson the aftermath of my grandson being hurt. I carried him in the children's hospital in my arms for like 12 straight hours because I wouldn't let anyone touch him. I am beyond protective. This situation, I used to think I was a strong individual and that I could handle anything. I spent many years in the military. I seen a lot. I did a lot. But this situation actually broke me. It broke my spirit. It broke my belief in humanity. And it's all the age of my grandson. He was 18 months old. He didn't ask for this. I commend what the young lady has done, and I'm just asking for not a full pardon, because my grandson didn't ask for this. He still struggles, and to watch that at his age is very detrimental to my psyche, because I won't let him out of my sight. I don't know what else to say besides, I wish it never happened, but the truth is a full pardon, I don't believe, is something that's honorable. But, like my daughter said, we have to let God take and heal us just as much as everyone involved. So I thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's all I have, board members.
Thank you. Can I ask, and I don't normally question victims, so this is not the norm, but can I ask how the victim's doing today?
He's a typical 11-year-old. He still goes to counseling. He does have some anger issues. He still screams out sometimes, and he can't really explain his bad dreams. And my hope is that his bad dreams have nothing to do with what happened.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Chance, question?
So if I could just follow up, and I agree with you, Madam Chair, I don't usually ask, but is he in a normal school setting?
Yes, he is.
Okay. All right. I don't have any further questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Paul.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The grace of the mother and the grandmother here is important. What else is important, is the victim is relatively moving along here. Ms. Hensley has engaged from the beginning when she with anger management, with the Alternatives to Violence program, with counseling, has set herself up in a church, and has been utilizing a sponsor, trying to live in a positive way. And that's really what reform is all about. And the situation here is, I heard the grandmother in this case, but there is no, in Connecticut, there isn't any such thing as a partial pardon. It's our choice is to a full and absolute pardon or not to pardon. I think Miss Hensley has sincere remorse for what she did. She expressed that, and it's where we are is the things that are on her record, not that we can ever erase anything that's happened here,
Yeah.
because it has, it has happened. But to, if the criminal record when Miss Hansley is applying for work or housing or things like that, it stands in the way of that as well. So again, I hear the mother and I hear the grandmother in this case. The information that has been supplied to us, along with the letters that were submitted, show that Ms. Hansley is in a very different place today.
Yeah.
And I would honor, the victim's concerns and grace that they've offered today, but I also don't want to stand in the way of Ms. Hansley's progress. So, Madam Chair, I would support a pardon in this case.
Thank you, Mr. Pohl. Ms. Hansley, it's very evident from these offenses that you were angry.
Yes,
There
ma'am.
was a lot of anger in your offenses, and I'm happy to see that you have addressed that anger issue over the years to avoid any more pain, because there's still a lot of pain. The emotions come right back, and I certainly hope that everyone in this situation can heal and try to move forward from this. But I understand you never truly forget. You spoke of education and career opportunities. Can you be more specific about what your pursuits would be?
I want to do cybersecurity. And I know in order to do that, I have to have a clean background. So I'm interested in that. The road today, how it is tech is revolved around technology. So cybersecurity is something that I'm interested in and want to pursue.
Okay. And what type of education do you need for that?
You need like a degree for it. So I would have to attend school to get a degree for it.
Okay. All right. So you're not in school now, but you're an owner of a business and a driver, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. And you have 2 children?
No, ma'am, I have none.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh boy, these are not easy cases. All right, Ms. Chance, Mr. Pohl, thank you for your thoughts. Ms. Chance, what are your thoughts?
So, I, listened to the mother of the victim, and I certainly appreciate her honesty in saying, what her struggles have been. And that, she struggled at the beginning with therapy, but she's continuing with it. She doesn't wish any harm on the petitioner. And I thought that was extremely gracious of her to say that. Miss Hansley has been doing very well herself when she did those 3 months of anger management, going to meetings twice a week, and then she did therapy. But I think being at church and giving back to the community and doing the things that she has been doing helps her to really, compensate for the harm that she did. I think if she continues on the path of completing her education and, is financially doing well, that she should consider some way in giving back financially to the mother of the victim to compensate for some of the financial struggles that she had. And I heard the grandmother, and I agree with Mr. Poe, we can't give partial pardon. But Madam Chair, I'm sitting here thinking about this, and the only thing that I can think of is to, grant Miss Hansley the pardon with the understanding that later on she could financially reimburse the victim's mother for some of her financial issues that she have, and continue with the good work that she has been doing in the community.
Thank you. Of course, that's not something we could impose, and I'm not even certain that the victim's family would want any type of contact, but I understand your intent. Okay, in the matter of Quandacia Hansley, I'll move to grant an absolute pardon. Mr. Paul,
Aye.
Ms. Chance,
Aye.
my vote is aye. The pardon is granted. We thank everyone for your participation in this very difficult case today.
Thank you.
Congratulations. We just said module.
You really can't make this stuff up. Now let me describe in very simple, very plain English how insane this grant was. If you're sitting there saying, you know what, it's okay, it was a pardon, this and that and this. Let's remember one thing, the one thing that this board that is handpicked by the governor, put in this position to make sure that they can protect those who are most vulnerable. What do? They allow her, they grant her a pardon. Her record's expunged. She can do anything that you and I can do. Now, I don't want to work with children, but if she decides that she wants to, guess what? You say, Mandoo, you're being unreasonable. You're not thinking straight. You know what they could have done? We've seen this. I've seen this done before. The rules for a pardon, there need to be certain reasons behind it. It needs to be blocking you from maybe achieving certain occupation, right? So they ask her, well, why do you want the pardon? Well, I want to work in cybersecurity. Wow. Guys, I want to work in cybersecurity. I heard you can make a lot of money working in cybersecurity. Anybody can just say they want to work in cybersecurity and bam, they'll get a job making, $300-400 grand a year working in cybersecurity. It's a pretty cool job, right? So they say, oh, wow, that sounds great. Well, what have you done to start towards that goal? Oh, I haven't done anything. I want to work in cybersecurity. They could have said, well, you know what? That is an admirable goal. Why don't you come back in 3-4 years when you're maybe a partial way through getting your degree in computer science, and then you can start working your way up to cybersecurity. I'll tell you, the people I know in cybersecurity, they're like 8 years out of the military, trained software engineer. They're coders, they're hackers. Those are the people that I know who work in cybersecurity. Not like, oh, well, I want to work in cybersecurity. It's a joke. It's a joke. They could have easily said, that's an admirable goal. Come back to us after you've gotten you made some progress. Clearly she was lying about why she did it. Maybe her attorney advised her, just say you want to do something in the field that you need a pardon. Unbelievable. There was no remorse. Absolutely none. I wrote down her statement. Let me read it to you. I am ashamed to have conducted this behavior. I truly apologize for the embarrassment I have put in the world. I would like to become a far better individual. I have completed 3 months of anger management. It's like, a little bit of paraphrasing. But when you beat an 18-month-old child and send him to the hospital, you might think that you would cry a little bit, like how the grandmother reacted when she was speaking. You felt it. You know, if someone were to have run over someone's puppy and they were to come up and apologize for running over the puppy, they would have more empathy. They would have more emotion. Can you imagine what it takes to beat a defenseless, cute little infant? There was nothing there. There is no empathy. And the joke of the matter is, what did she do? She completed a 3-month anger management program. 3 months! Hallelujah! Whatever it was inside of you that caused you to beat a defenseless child, I know it's gone. You are, as Mike Pohl, what a nut job. Well, she's completed anger management and she volunteers at the church. And it's like, oh, great. Now she has asked, oh, what did she say she does? She does Toys for Tots. We don't see the irony in that. Part of giving back is Toys for Tots. I can't even. There's something so broken with this system. Again, you might say, Mandoo, you're just whining, you're complaining. No, you know what? I am venting at the insanity of this. You do not, this is not something that you can just give to someone because they want it. The record is not there for punishment. The record is there to serve as a warning label, as a way of protecting the community from people who beat children. Why is that not mentioned anywhere in this discussion, in this 21-minute pardon hearing? Why does no one mention that? You know, it's they say you can forgive, not forget. The mother, the grandmother, God bless them. You know what you need to do to move on. You can forgive, not forget. But the state has an obligation, a fiduciary responsibility to its constituency, to those who move to the state of Connecticut, to make sure that they are doing the right thing to protect those who can't protect themselves. And she comes up here and she does not check a single box. I'm not even sure she spent a day in prison time, a day in prison. She takes a 3-month anger management program. She shows, that's it. Can you even imagine that? She shows no empathy. Her statement is really lackluster. She claims she wants a pardon for a cybersecurity job, which she has. It's just a fantasy at this point. So she should get a pardon? Certain people with certain crimes, the public has a need to know if what that person is capable of. The idea that the only thing keeping her away from getting a job working with children would at this point be a Google search. And now with the pardon, she could change her name. Now, who's to say she wants to work with children? No one. Hopefully she doesn't. But I can't take that chance. Can you? Would you be able to sleep at night? It was disturbing to hear Mike Pohl say, man, that man, and the idea, he was a high school or a middle school history teacher for like 30 something years. That's his only experience. And then he did like substance abuse teaching or something. Why the governor picked him, I don't know. And I bet he was the best high school and middle school teacher history middle school teacher there was. I bet, you know, the way that you could tell he's probably a great listener and actually cared about his students, but he has no business being on this board. He says, the grace of the grandmother and daughter is important. It wasn't grace. You like misinterpreted that. He goes on to say that the victim is moving along. So you're going to tell me that an 11-year-old screaming in his sleep like a shell-shocked war veteran is moving along? I have 3 children. I got to tell you that none of them wake up screaming in their sleep. And dear God, if they did, I would say that is the farthest thing from moving along. Are you nuts? This child is still suffering. We don't even know the and I felt like it was only the grandmother that actually felt the protectiveness and the trauma for her grandbaby. That I was just only able to feel, and I just, and I'm not. I want to set the record straight. Everyone shows their emotions their own way. Mom, I'm not judging her or making any. What I am just stating is what, like, I only felt it from the grandmother, but I'm not, just for the record. You know, Mom immediately took the baby to the hospital. This wasn't a case of anything else. I hope that I'm caretaker accused of abusing toddler for an apartment, and they call it caretaker, but not a caretaker. July 8, 2015. Manchester woman is accused of abusing 8-month-old boy in her care. I guess that is caretaker. It's not paid caretaker. Detectives launched an investigation on June 19th after being contacted by the doctors at Connecticut Child Medical Center about a child with injuries to his neck and body. Doctors said the 18-month-old had significant bruising and abrasions. According to police, the injuries occurred while the boy was with Hansley during an overnight stay. Hansley was in a relationship with the child's mother at the time of the alleged incident. Police said she is charged with cruelty to a person's third-degree assault, risk of injury to a minor. She's being held. And again, thank you, Sir Richard. And it shows here that she ended up getting, so that's what she was arrested for, and she was sentenced 5 years jail, executed, suspended after 1 year, probation 5 years. And then what's interesting is she got count 2, failure to appear first degree. So she did not appear for her sentencing, which says a lot, by the way, in my opinion. So they had to get a warrant for her after she didn't appear for her sentencing. And I don't know if she actually spent a year in jail. You know, these are the type of things where they probably get out on good time. And she then did a 3-month program on the outside. And now she's cured. She doesn't beat children anymore. I just, I don't know why the board doesn't understand that there's like the idea of protection. You know, a pardon is sacred, and there was nothing wrong with them saying, come back when you've made progress on your degree, which we know is BS. Like I said, again, the people that I know in cybersecurity, these people are military. They are trained by the military. They put in their 5, 6, 7 years on getting their master's degrees through the military, and then they work, and like those are the cybersecurity people that are getting hired. You don't just go to some tech. Oh no, it's cybersecurity. I don't know. Yes, I know that there's a broad range of cybersecurity and all that, but I'm just saying, the way that I view it, it would be like saying, "Well, I want to be a doctor." I'm go, "Oh, well, how far along are you on being a doctor?" I haven't even gone to community college yet. I don't have an associate's degree. But I want to be a doctor. Okay, pardon. It is that ridiculous. And it's a broken system. And with that, I'll let you go.
But can I ask how the victim's doing today?
He's a typical 11-year-old. He still goes to counseling. He does have some anger issues. He asks, he still screams out sometimes, and he can't really explain his bad dreams. And my hope is that his bad dreams have nothing to do with what happened.